Tiny soldiers on a grand paper plane, rolling dice to echo cannons refrain. Kingdoms rise within this tabletop dust. In strategy and chaos we place our trust. The generals leaned with a calculating stare. Hands of fate guide moves with a flare. Tiny hills climb where valleys fall steep. Battles fought while the house stays asleep. Wargaming dreams on a six-sided star. In this microcosm we travel so far. Heroes die small, but their legends grow large. In this tiny world, we're always in charge. Painted commanders in coats of bold hue patrol the terrain in colors so true. Armies clash with a flick of the wrist.
All right, hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and we are back with another Wargaming in Miniature video. I'm checking my stream. Okay, it looks like it just switched over. Good deal. Got a loose hair there. All right, and in today's video, we're going to be, hopefully, I'm going to be finishing these, or at least getting them into a state that I have to sit and let them dry. I want to get them close to finished. This is the American Civil War, part of the American Civil War Commission that I have taken. A couple of Union regiments. Over here you can see that I've got my painting, or my paintbrush rack is finished, right? And I went ahead and sprayed it with some black spray paint. I did take my drill after going through the garage with a fine-tooth comb. I finally found my drill. The new one. I don't know where the old one is. I thought they'd be together. Plus, I don't know where my circular saw is. I think my wife might have buried them under some of her belongings. I'm putting this on the wrong hand. Okay, got it. Let's put this on the correct hand. And then this glove that I'm putting on. So what I've been doing is only using one glove. I've been using a glove on the hand that holds the miniatures as I paint. And then I just paint with my ungloved hand. Yeah, so, and then I went ahead and I drilled out some holes, and I drilled out the second holes as well while this was constructed but not glued together, right? And then once I got all the holes drilled out, I went through and I filed them, and I scraped them, and I did a bunch of work to clean them, basically. And then I glued everything together, and then spray painted it black, just so that it would be, it would match everything on the table. I found out that this hole back here that I did not pop out is supposed to make it so that I can stick my fingers in there and grab the thing and move it around, but I don't have any problem just grabbing it on any side whatsoever. Also, you might notice, okay, you can't really see. There you go. You might notice that these tabs stick out, right? They are longer than the wood is thick, right? So when I was trying to fit everything together, I was sitting this like on the table, and I was pushing the other boards into it, and I was like, these won't go all the way in. I don't know what's going on. And then I realized that the tabs were actually too big. And so once I started fitting it in the air, I started pushing it together without resting it on the table. Everything started to go together. And so that was just a little learning experience for me. That's all. Okay. Let's get this light on. All right. And really, I only have one color, which is black, right? I've got one color, and I'm going to paint their cross belts and their belts. That's not true. I'm also going to paint like holsters, because there's a couple of these guys that have holsters. There's a couple of guys that have Bowie knife type knives hanging from their belts. I think what I'm going to do is paint those, and I had this color out, I put it away prematurely. I'm going to paint those leather. That's the plan. I'm going to run a little test here. Let's see if I can close that, move this over here. And I'm going to type test into the chat. And it does come through, but for some reason, widget, there we go. I'm going to refresh it. And look at that. All right, and there it comes through perfectly. Perfect. Good to go. Good to go. That's what I wanted. All right. And I don't know if you can really see this with the camera the way I've got it positioned, but there's actually a lot more room here for me to work my magic. But I still have that spinner that I pushed off to the side that I have to try to figure out how to empty it. Now, I've been thinking that I'm just going to toss all the extra brushes, and you can see I've got quite a few holes left. I'm going to save the best brushes, toss the old ones, and then keep the spinner, but put the spinner somewhere else in my workshop. Maybe on my computer desk, like, I don't know, where the monitors are. There's like a little shelf, but there's not a whole lot of room. The monitor shelves are only like 8 inches. And I don't know. But basically just leave pens and stuff like that in it. Okay, so we're done with that. I cooked some, or I brewed some coffee. But coffee in the morning has a tendency to like give me diarrhea, and I have to run to the bathroom and resolve that usually. But the coffee is just so good. Now I got the flags ready because that's something that we're going to be doing today probably. And I also got the bases. I sprayed these a couple of days ago. Just to get them ready for basing. Um, yeah, so that can stay out of the way. Okay. So, black, you say? I don't like any of these. I could double them up. I could put black on top of one of these other colors because they're all dry. But I'm noticing that I've got some static grass, loose static grass in these, and I've tried cleaning them out, but I still see the loose static grass. And I don't want to paint with loose static grass getting in the problem. Okay, if you guys are watching any of my game playthroughs, like Skyrim or Star Citizen or Xenonauts or whatever I'm playing at the time, Star Citizen just released 4.1.1. I just finished downloading that. So that's ready to go for tonight's game. So I've got it scheduled for 2 o'clock a.m. that is. You know, you think that this time of day right now is morning. Well, it's morning for you, possibly wherever you're at, 9:11 a.m. But in my schedule, this is actually the end of my day. After about, I eat lunch, I do a little work, and then I go to sleep. And then I sleep till about midnight. Just so you know. And then I get up at midnight, I play some games with everybody being out of the house or asleep. And then I take a break from gaming. And then I have breakfast or lunch. I guess you could call it lunch around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And then everybody goes to work, everybody goes to work, and that's when I start my painting live stream. Okay, so now I just busted out this 5.0. It's called the Golden Sable. I don't know what the brand is. I could probably look it up, but it just says golden maple. And then now I'm looking to do some cross straps. And this might be a little bit quiet, okay, because I might be thinking or concentrating. I might be doing something like that. So bear with me. And my stomach is making all kinds of noises right now. I did just finish some chili mac. Okay, this 5-0 brush has got a really nice point on it. But I would hope so because it's never been used before. Now, once I get these guys completely done, okay, and once I get them like 100% all the way, before I ship them out, we will get some close-ups. So you'll get a chance to see them in all their glory. So I looked at some reenactors photographs, and their canteen straps were white. You know, like linen, or I don't think they were leather. I think they were cloth. But then I look at historical documents, or not documents, but like museum photos of uniforms in the museum, and all the leather straps are black. All of them. So I've decided I'm just going to do black straps. I'm not going to do that white. Even though some units that might actually be appropriate. I'm just not doing it. And I've noticed, or at least I think I've noticed, because you guys know that these are my very first epic miniatures that I've painted. And I'm thinking I'm doing a lot of work on the backs of every one of these guys and the front of every one of these guys, when I'm thinking in my brain of brains if one of these rows is supposed to be the back rank, you're not going to see all the work I did on their front because it's going to be pinched in between two sticks. And the same for the guys that I did their backs. You know, if they're the front rank, you'll never see it. Yeah, like this guy's got a holster. And I fully anticipate this black taking hours to do. Mainly because, you know, it's such a small brush, small tip. And I have to do 200 miniatures. 100 per regiment. Yeah, like I've only done 13 backs, right? And I'm still going. Yeah, I did all their hands last night, and that was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be challenging, but really it wasn't. Yeah, I was dozing at my computer at about 7 o'clock or so, something like that. Right before I had lunch. My wife comes in and screams at me. She says, "Go to bed." And I'm like, "No, but thank you for waking me up." Yeah, she went to school today because she's a teacher, but she's going to come home and grab a bunch of stuff and take to another home because she's pet watching for some of her friends. They're going on vacation, so she's going to watch their house and take care of the pets. So she'll be out of the house for about almost 2 weeks, actually. Basically, the rest of the month. Okay, that's the back. Now I'm going to the front, which is going to be a lot less to do, mainly because of arms and muskets. I'm finding it a little hard to believe that I'm still on the first stick. And looking at these models, when I was painting the muskets, right, I just painted them all new wood. That's no problem. And then I go back in later and I paint the metallic parts, the barrel and the trigger. And I was noticing Most of them have the barrel forward, like away from their shoulder. But there are a few of them that have their barrels resting on their shoulders. Which I would think would be uncomfortable. Or, it could be hot. And some of them have the barrel, or I should say the flat side of the musket on their shoulder. So the barrel kind of sticks to the side. Yeah, and I didn't like that. You got to really pay attention to where the musket barrel is. But worse than that, they're not even the same. Or it's not like there's just one guy that's a little bit out of place. It's like every one of them is different. Now, one thing this brush does not do, it doesn't hold a lot of paint. So what you're noticing is I'm going frequently to my palette. And I think it's probably just a little excessive. And I'm going to take this time to fix any of the hats that I might have messed up by painting the muskets brown. There were a couple of them. Okay, that hurt my neck. You just don't even know how much that hurt my neck. And I've only did one strip. Only took 30 minutes. Well, if I don't get them finished today, I'll work on them again tomorrow. But I really want to get them shipped out by this weekend. Switching glasses so that so I can see what's on the chat. And I see Luke is back. Hey, Luke. He says, I can't read this. Sorry, I got to lean in. Good afternoon, sir. Happy to be picking up tips, not inspiration for Union Epic Infantry. I need keep going through them, really. And inspiration for Union Epic. Okay, I gotcha. Well, I'm glad I could help. I'm glad I could help you out. Yeah, it's taking me way longer than I thought it was going to take me. And I like to think of myself as a fairly quick painter. You know, I like to think of myself as a one pump chump. Also, I think I might have used I used dark Prussian on their jackets. I think I probably should have used light Prussian. Or like a French Napoleonic, like maybe a dark blue. And not this Prussian blue. And I say that only because it's really dark. And all the pictures of the Union troops that I've seen, their jackets are like really dark. So I was trying to emulate that. But if you remember what I was saying about scale, smaller figures tend to look darker. So if I had used a light Prussian or a French blue or just a straight up dark blue, it would have wound up looking good after the wash anyway. Now I did paint their bedrolls that they've got over their shoulders. The light Prussian. because it would give the uniform a little bit of contrast. I could have also used duck blue, because I think the duck blue is actually a good pre-wash color. I might experiment a little bit on the next regiment. Actually, the next thing I'm planning on doing is going to be the artillery. There's not a whole lot of it. I think there's only 6 guns. And that'll give me a chance to use a different blue on each gun. And then once I get them done, I can kind of look at them and say, I think this one looks the best. And then when I do my next Union regiment, I'll have all that already ready. Plus, there's a Zouave regiment, and my understanding, they wore blue jackets as well, but they had like red hats and red pants. Or at least that's what this regiment's going to have. Okay. Doing the backs. So I've been thinking about putting an order in for some more Old Glory figures. Because I personally need some Dutch Belgians for my Quatre Bras game. I used to have every pack needed, right? I had made a list of units that I needed and how many figures of each unit and stuff like that. And I had ordered it a year ago. But knowing I had so many figures to paint, French, British, Dutch, Belgian, Nassau, Hanover, Brunswick. I decided to put those units, those bags, for sale in the store. And then they sold, which is a good thing. But it means I don't have them in my possession anymore. So I have to order some more. Okay, I can sense myself getting a little sloppy. So let me slow down a little bit. As Paul Atreides would say, speed is the painting killer. Or I'm sorry, I misquoted. Speed is the quality killer. Slow down. Don't use speed paints. Take your time. Unless you don't care about quality. If all you care about is quantity, go for it. Use speed paints. On an army that you're painting like thousands of figures, I could almost understand, I can't, but I can almost understand why someone would use a speed paint. Because they've got so many figures they got to get done. I personally say don't. Take your time. It's better to have an army of goodly painted miniatures that took you a year to paint than to have an army of crappy looking figures that took you 1 month to paint. And that's why I find it really hard to comprehend why anybody that plays a skirmish level game like Bolt Action or Sharps Rifles, or Sharps Practice, I guess is what they call it, or any game like that that's just a man-to-man game, why you would ever use speed paint just doesn't register in my mind. But then again, I've seen people paint one figure at a time. And that's the other end of the spectrum. I think that is that's admirable. I'm going to say that's admirable. It's really good, especially if you only got like 10 figures you have to paint. You're playing Warhammer 40K and you've got 30 to 40 figures. Why use speed paints? Take your time. Paint 3 or 4 at a time. Or better yet, just paint your units 1 unit at a time. So if you got a squad of 5, paint those 5 guys. If you got a squad of 10, paint 10 guys. One reason why I say that is because, well, I say it because of me personally. I have a specific habit, or I don't know if it's a flaw, or if it's, I don't know if it's a habit. I don't know the definition, but it's basically something that I do every time. And that's why if you paint a unit in one sitting, it eliminates this problem that I have. And that is consistency. What do I mean by that? Like, I might paint a unit of French, let's say French Grenadiers or something. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to paint them but let's say I only paint like 3 out of 10. The next time I sit down to paint them, I grab another 3 and I say, okay, I'm going to paint this next 3. I might not mix my paint colors the same. Or even if I know what color I want to use, let's just say I want to paint something, I don't know, American infantry. I want to paint something khaki. I've got like 4 bottles of khaki in my paint collection. And they're all different. Like 2 of them are from the same company, Vallejo. But when I paint with them, they're different. Even though the bottle and everything is exactly the same. That's one reason why I batch paint. But when I do batch painting, I try to do everything from one unit. Because if one unit uses this one khaki, and then I paint the other unit thinking, oh yeah, I painted this guy khaki. Let me go ahead and grab my khaki, and then it winds up being different. It won't look different on the table. It'll look like it was done intentional. I mean, it will look different, but it'll look like it was done intentionally and not by mistake. Now, some armies, like the Continentals in the American War of Independence, they might have different shades because the jacket would have been manufactured at a different time or used different dyes. Or hell, it might even be a completely different color. So in that case, it's not really that important. And I think the Confederates are kind of the same way. They had a lot of gray, but then they also had butternut, or I should say khaki brown, khaki yellow, khaki, maybe it's yellow brown is what it's called. And another reason why I like to do it, it's psychological. I read this in a book. Written by the guys that did Napoleon's battles. It was an Avalon Hill book about painting Napoleonic units. Now remember that Napoleon's battles is designed for 15 millimeter. You can play it in any scale you want, but all the rules and everything are written for 15 millimeter. And the standard unit size is 24 figures. And this book was aimed at new people that are new to the hobby. Maybe have never painted a Napoleonic figure in the past. And they give advice on what to do psychologically, which I appreciated that commentary, and I try to do it even today. They say pick a unit that you're going to paint, get the figures ready to paint, and then paint them. Don't get 2 units, don't get 3 units, just 1 unit. And don't start a second unit until you finished that first unit. And hopefully, through speed of repetition, you should be able to finish that unit in less than 1 day. Because remember, you're only painting 24 figures in 15 millimeter. So if you get a unit finished, you'll be eager and motivated to do a second unit. If you don't finish that unit, you're going to be demoralized. You're going to think, man, this is taking way too long. And you might not ever get back to painting the figures until you force yourself. And those are the guys that grab the speed paints. But if you just paint 1 unit at a time, you get 1 unit finished each day. You're going to be super motivated to do the next unit, and then the next, and then the next. And then when you become really good with painting, you might be able to progress to 2 units a day. But don't do that unless you can complete both units. If you can complete both of them, go for it. But if you can't, stick with 1 unit. And I read that, and it struck home with me because I had thousands of figures on my workbench, literally thousands, and it was daunting. You know, I look at that pile of figures and it's like, I'm never going to paint these. There's way too many figures. And so when I read that, it was like, yes, I'm going through that problem right now of not being able to paint all these figures because I get psyched out. So it struck home with me. And ever since, I've always tried to temper my painting to what I can complete and stay motivated. Usually 3 or 4 days of painting, excuse me, is what I shoot for. And that winds up being about 100 figures, or like 3 units of, or 4 units of 24. I can do 4 units of 24 and usually get them finished in like 3 to 4 days. And that, maybe not finished completely, but to the point where I'm actually applying washes and putting the flags on them, which is basically I'm finished painting. I just haven't affixed them to the bases yet, or put grass or dirt or stones or anything like that on the base. But I consider that to be kind of like, almost, I consider that to be what's called post-production. I don't count that towards my, because once I get to that spot, once I get to that, I'm like super motivated to do it. All right, what do we got going on here, Luke? I got, it was just intimidating opening the Gettysburg box and seeing the sheer number involved, at least with Confederates. At least with Confederates, there's variety. Yeah. That's true. But what I just said about motivation would probably apply to you, because like I said, you're going to have tons of units. You're going to look at it. It's going to be intimidating. And then you said, I also used Prussian blue for tunics. I use magic blue and for trousers. Okay. I'm colorblind, so I need the contrast to be more extreme. Oh, I got you. Okay, well, that sucks that you're colorblind, but you work past it. I'm using I'm using AK French grayish blue for my trousers. That's dark Prussian blue right here, and this is the French grayish blue. I think that's good contrast. I think that looks as close to a lot of the color plates that I've been seeing. But with the dark Prussian, I think I can not use dark Prussian and maybe go with something called blue. I think I could do blue instead. Here's the dark Prussian. I don't know if you can see that. I know with the color blindness and all that. But I think this might make, with a dark wash, I think that would be a really good color. So that's what I'm probably going to experiment with when I get to any more Union troops. Man, my stomach is like doing it. Tossing and turning. It's not hunger. Might be that coffee trying to get out. Now the Confederate gray, I might use a different gray. I don't know yet. Haven't gotten that far yet. Yeah, I think my body's telling me I need to go use the bathroom. I'm resisting just so that I could finish this stick. And that's another thing. These black straps on top of the dark Prussian blue, they're almost invisible. Now, I think the Union and the Confederate sprues are exactly the same. I don't think you're getting like a unique sprue for the Confederates. Maybe the cavalry, but even then, I don't think so. So I think what I'm going to do is after the wash, I'm going to go in and highlight elbows and shoulders with the blue, not the dark Prussian blue. It'll bring everything down a little bit. Or no, I mean it'll bring it up. I think it'll be a good thing. It'll be a good highlight color. Okay, I got about 5 figures left, and then I'm running to the bathroom. Okay, fixing the hats. Okay, I'm gonna go hit the bathroom. I'll be back. Give me about 5-10 minutes. Everybody take a break. Get a snack, get a drink. I'll be right back. Moving slow, but I'm back. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It was all mostly just gas. This is empty. Hmm. Okay. Let's try to get another one of these done before I end the stream, anyway. I'm losing focus a little bit. Eye strain. I can usually paint for about 2 to 3 hours at one sitting, and then I got to take a break because I got to let my eyes rest. I give them about an hour or so, and then I can get right back to it. A lot of times, I'll paint all day. Going 2 hours at a time, taking a break, 2 more hours, take a break. It's not that I am tired of painting, but my eyes get eye strain. You know, focusing on these itty bitty titty committees. Okay, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna call somebody out. I'm not gonna mention him by name, but I got to talk about this. I don't know if it's a problem with society or just this dude. You know. So last night I watched the series finale of Andor. Right? It's the Star Wars story about a character named Andor. He's a spy in the rebellion, and he goes about his business and kills people, and people around him die. And if you don't already know this, this is not really a spoiler because it happened so many years ago. There was a movie called Rogue One. That movie was about Andor, this character. And spoiler, he dies in the movie. So throughout this series, you know he's going to live. You know that he's going to go on and do this thing in the movie and then die. Right? So, and this guy that I'm watching, so I watched this movie. I know this. So my excitement is a little tempered because I already know what's going to happen. Not in the Andor story, but afterwards. You know, in the Rogue One story. So when Andor gets put into like a life and death situation, you know he's coming out of it. You know he's coming out of it because he's got a whole nother movie that he's got to attend to. Uh-oh. Yep, let me pull this color out. This will just be a reminder to me. These drums, I didn't finish the drums. They've got little white ropes on them that need to be painted. Okay, so that's not really the topic of this conversation. So I watched this TV series. I think it's an okay TV series. I was happy with it, even if I already knew what was going to happen. You know, it's kind of like watching a World War II flick. You know who's going to win. In the end. But you don't necessarily know how they're going to get there. Okay. Now, there's a guy that I have tuned into in the past, like when he was doing a review of Halo. And I thought he was had interesting takes on what was going on in the videos that he reviews or reacts to. So I said, I'll see if he's got a reaction to Andor. Well, I actually don't go out and seek it out. It appears in my feed and I go, oh, that's something I could watch. I'll watch that. Okay, so he's watching Andor. He knows how it's going to end. He knows, he's seen Rogue One already. He knows. And he comments and he says, I can't believe I'm getting all excited even though I already know what's going to happen. I know he's going to live, but I'm still excited about this scene. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's legit. I'm okay with that. But then he starts crying. Oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. This character died. Oh, no, boo-hoo. And I'm like, dude, Stop being a pussy. People die in this series. They're not really dead. The actor wasn't killed. Oh no, and I'm so emotional. Boo hoo. Okay, if it was somebody that you really got attached to in the story, you really wanted to see him go far or something, and then he gets shot in the head, and you want to cry about it. No. No, stop being a pussy. I'm not going to give you an out. I'm not going to give you a free one. It's a freaking character. He died. Get over it. React to it in like, oh my god, I can't believe they killed him. Okay, that I can accept. Or, dang, man, I really like that character. Okay, I can accept that too. But not, oh, I can't accept that. I wanted to get into his chat in the video and say, stop being a pussy, grow a spine. But I didn't. I let him be himself. That was one video. And then another one came up. And there's a scene in the Senate. And the senator is giving a real impassioned speech about rebellion and or actually about tyranny and massacring their own citizens and stuff like that. And he gets on there and he starts crying again. Oh man, that speech is so relevant to what's going on in the world today. Oh man. And I'm, first of all, dude, you're crying over a speech in Star Wars. And secondly, you're conflating the Empire's fascist atrocities to what's going on in the United States right now. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Do you even watch the news? Trump is so bad. He guns people down in the street. No, he doesn't. He doesn't even limit your freedom of speech. He defends it. It's the Democrats who are trying to prevent freedom of speech. They're the ones that gun people down in the streets. Just look at the Summer of Love. People getting shot in the chest just for being a Trump supporter. I don't know, but I don't care if he's left or right. People got their opinions. He's misinformed. He watches or listens to corporate media, which only talk about the Democratic talking points. And so he's being lied to, and I can't fault him for believing it. Because 20 years ago, I would say, as an example, I would say like CNN is the news. Where nowadays, it's not. It's Democratic propaganda. But either way, let's say he listens to the news and he really believes it, and he's got a demented sense of what's going on in this world. He's got TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. He thinks Trump is bad, but when you ask him why, he can't give you an answer. He just knows that he's been told that Trump is bad. And I can get past all of that. Even though I want to yell at him and explain to him why he is wrong, I don't. But when he starts crying, it makes me understand why he thinks Trump is bad. Because he has no brain. He has no, what's the word I'm looking for? Mental fortitude. I have a feeling that he's never been spanked in his life. He's fairly young. I don't know. He's probably around 18 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I have a feeling that he was never disciplined harshly. I get that feeling that he was coddled. And now he cries whenever there's someone giving an impassioned speech on the TV series. Oh my gosh. Sorry. That was probably more than you were asking for. And what's really bad, his name is Derek. And my name is Derek. And I feel I feel like he's giving Derek's a bad name. He needs to grow a pair. He would be the guy that quit basic training on day one. I don't know how many of you guys out there have ever been in the military. But I went through basic training twice. Once in the 80s and once in the 90s. Well, let me rephrase that. 81 and 91. And they break you down like really hard. They make you want to cry. But do you? No, you don't cry. You toughen up. But there are some guys that do cry. And they're asked, do you want to quit? Some of them don't quit. They stay and they stick it out and they stop crying by the end. But others actually accept and quit. And I think he would be the guy that would cry and quit day one. I know he'd be. He has no strength, no intestinal fortitude. I don't have any intestinal fortitude because I got all this diarrhea. No, I'm kidding. Because my stomach's growling at me. That's why I have no intestinal fortitude. I bring it up because it just got under my skin. I watched him and I was like, dude, why are you crying? I think he did the same thing. I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't as bad. But I think he did the same thing in Daredevil. Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing another stand, but I just couldn't let it be. Whoa. And some of you are asking yourself, why did Derek do basic training twice? That's ridiculous. I agree 100%. I didn't learn anything the second time through. But I'm going to admit it did help me get back into shape. And the reason why is I got out of the service, went about my business, did a little college, worked some odd jobs, said, you know what? I'm going to go back in the service. I did well in the service the first time through, made good rank, and all that time I served is going to do me well this, you know, I'll just add it up. Well, when I went back in, they said, you've been out of the service for 5 years. Which is true. I was out for 5 years. They said, you lose one rank for every year that you're out. I was like, what? So I went back in as another E1. He said, don't worry, you'll make your rank back. I was like, all right. I know. I made my rank really quick the first time. So I know I'll make it really quick the second time. Because I'm just that good. So I told myself. But they said, well, you have to go back to basic training. You've been out too long. And I was like, okay. I actually have more to that story because special forces and intel analysts and security clearances. But that's for a different day. I even did a short amount of time in the Tennessee National Guard as well. That was an experience that I don't want to ever do again. Sweet. Yeah, I think I'm going to pause right here. I know I only have 4 more to go, but we're going to end the video. I'm going to get something to eat because it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to get something to eat, and then I don't know if I'm going to do any more work on my Pendragon campaign. Probably not. Not right now. And then I'm going to go to sleep, get up, get ready for my live stream tonight, which I'm going to be doing Star Citizen. So if you're interested in Star Citizen, you should check out my live stream. Now, something I'm thinking about doing tomorrow, if in fact the house is empty, if in fact my wife goes and does the dog sitting, I might set up that table for Freeman's Farm, American War of Independence Battle. I might get out all the troops for Freeman's Farm. Because I have everything painted that I need to play that battle. And then maybe just use a British Grenadier scenario. And then I'll play through it solitaire. But that's a game that I've been thinking about taking to a convention. So I might set up the camera and everything at like 9 o'clock. Get everything started. Get everything kind of just ready to go. And then at like 9:30 or something like that, start the stopwatch. And then set up and start playing. Let's see how far I can get in 4 hours. That would be like a convention slot. Picking up should not be a problem at all. It's the setting it up accurately and then getting everybody started and stuff like that usually takes a little bit of time. But I'll be doing it solitaire, so that'll cut a little bit of that time off. And just play for 4 hours and see if we can get it to conclusion, or to see if it looks like it'll be close to conclusion or to a point where, you know, people might have a good time playing it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing tomorrow is setting up and playing Freeman's Farm. Um, maybe. I'm still debating. But that's what I'm leaning towards. I tonight when I wake up, I'll finish painting these guys with black, and then I'll paint their Bowie knives in their sheaths or whatever with the brown, and then I'm going to use this grayish white for the strings on the drum. And once I do that, then I should be able to do a wash. And I don't think I'm ever going to use this wash ever again. This was the MIG Dark Wash. Not MIG. Yeah, MIG. Ammo. Dark Wash. And the container is smaller than normal. The cost is the same. So I'm kind of a little bit disappointed with that. Also, it's really dark. It's like the Army Painter Dark Wash, which is like black. If I was to go in and like put lines using the wash, I think it would look really good on bigger figures. But on these size figures, what I do is I just coat the whole figure with it. And if that's the case, I think I'm going to use strong tone and not dark. And then we'll base and put flags, and I don't know if I'll be able to get all that done tonight. Probably not. And that's why I might not do the Freeman's Farm tomorrow, because I want to get these guys finished. We'll see. We'll see how far along I get. All right, guys. You guys take care. I am going to log out.